Just last week, Manchester Airport closed down the check-in area in Terminal 3 and moved this into Terminal 1. So what does it mean for you? Will it be any better? Let's find out. Before we head to the new world, a quick reminder of what the now closed route used to look like. The modern building here housed the check-in upstairs and still does house the arrivals area downstairs. This is the old check-in area that's now been closed down. You can see a number of airlines here from over the years. And this particular area here, this almost triangle piece of check-in real estate, is where BA used to be sited. And I think maybe 15 years ago, security for T3 was here as well. Someone can correct me on that one. To the right then of the newer section, what you've got is the older original domestic building, which formerly housed a really small check-in area and your most recent route through here down on into security. I'm going to use the map from Manchester Airport's website to help us understand where we are and what's changing. Spoiler, I'm filming and recording this on Sunday after the changes have taken place and the map hasn't yet been updated. If we carry on past the old check-in area, you find yourself at the old security point for T3. This is archive footage, this isn't here anymore, but it's just to show you what it used to look like. This security zone here was never upgraded to a latest generation of leaving your bag CT scanner security equipment. Anyway, we'll come back here later, but for now let's head back into the Skylink over into Terminal 1. The airport has done a great job of letting passengers know when you're on your way to the terminal where you will find Ryanair now. There's signs everywhere. As a side note, EasyJet will be leaving Terminal 1 and heading over to the new T2 on the 18th of November, not long to go now. We're going down off the Skylink now into departures area A of Terminal 1, and that's where Ryanair have taken up residence here on the left with over 30 bag drop counters. Incidentally, T1A is what you'll now see on your Ryanair boarding pass. There's two security areas in Terminal 1. We're going to be using Security B today, which is on the left. Security A was closed when we arrived. I'm unsure what the plan is here going forwards, whether both will be open or whether just one will stay going. I'm pleased to say though that Security B does have the next generation of scanners, which is obviously a massive upgrade versus T3. Although it is far from ideal if you do struggle with stairs to get down here. Once through security, you'll come into what is currently the departure area of Terminal 1, which will be rebranded Departures T3. And again, there's clear signs here advising you what gates Ryanair are going to leave from and how long it's going to take you to get there. Walking through this departure area, and again, there's big yellow signs on some of the closed up shops, letting you know where to go. I'm still a little bit unclear on the eventual plan of how things will be merged between T1 and T3, but my understanding for now is that this area here will be retained for the time being. You might remember this area from maybe 15-20 years ago. This is where the chandeliers were. There used to be windows with some natural lighting. Way better in my opinion, but that's a conversation for another time. Towards the end of this hall, you might also remember there was escalators that would go up into the food court area. Now I found a photo from many years ago where those escalators took you up to the food court, and my gran used to take my cousin and I there for a Burger King on a Saturday. The area where that photo was taken upstairs houses the lounges for Terminal 1 and where the former T3 security search area was. We're going to go through duty free now, and this will take us into the newer part of Terminal 1. Again, you really can't miss the signs directing Ryanair passengers into Terminal 3. This is only an assumption, but I think once Terminal 1 closes and rebrands as T3, I'm expecting a wall to be put up here, just where this big yellow sign is, because it's at this point where you want to turn left and head through some corridors into Legacy T3. And the airport have indicated that all the shops before this point will remain open, at least for the time being. Now what you're going to do here is follow what was the route to the Terminal 1 lounges, and the good news is that for the most part these are going to remain open. So if you are heading to Terminal 3 on Ryanair now, you now get a lounge where you didn't before, obviously subject to payment, but Terminal 3's lounges shut down a while ago now, so this is again a big tick when you're now travelling into T3. We're now going through to what I think is called the southern front part of the terminal. Now once you do get to the end of this corridor, if you turn around, you'll see a big sign on the wall saying that if you're flying Ryanair, you probably want to stay in this part of the terminal and not head back into Terminal 1. I've not mentioned it yet, but Ryanair are now the only airline flying from T3. Now a few of you probably recognise where you are now. You're in the old temporary BA lounge for a couple of months, where the old domestic gates were, and where you might have previously found Loganair, Flybe, BMI or even Virgin Red back in the day. As I said, I'm unsure if this is the permanent or temporary routing back into T3, but if you look at the map, the other side of this wall on the left is where the Terminal 1 departure lounge was, where we just saw where the chandeliers previously were. So there is clear scope here just to knock through and bring you into T3. What I don't know is whether they'll do that or not, because most airports now want you to go through duty free and spend a bit of money in there. In fact, this staff door here on the left, these people are going through, will take you straight through that side. Speaking of doors, this blue one here just before we go through is where domestic arrivals used to then descend into the baggage reclaim. There's a ramp down there if you remember. And that's the changes that you'll find when getting into T3 now. If you come up the stairs, you might remember this is where the old security T3 search area would bring you through, and then everything else is very much business as usual into Terminal 3. So pros and cons then. Well, the first big pro for me is the enhanced security you're going to get by travelling through Terminal 1 rather than Terminal 3. Being able to leave stuff in your bag is kind of a given these days, and the fact that Ryanair passengers can now do that is a game changer. It should make the whole journey smoother and easier going through security, which has always been a challenge at Manchester. Number two, if you're travelling by train, it's a lot easier to get to Terminal 1 than it is Terminal 3. This is sort of a two-parter to it though. So although you'll now be departing from the legacy Terminal 1 area, it means you can travel from the train station to check in without going outside. The flip side though, you're still going to be arriving into legacy Terminal 3, which means you're going to have to go outside to get the train eventually. The same can be said with the car park situation. That's more of a con for me here. Where do you park your car? The T3 car park or the T1 car park? Whichever one you do, you're going to have to walk either when you arrive or when you depart. That one I've not quite got my head around yet. Obviously, another big upside here is the amount of shops and places to eat that you're going to have in the new Terminal 1 T3 hybrid, and that includes lounges too. There's not been a lounge in Terminal 3 for a while now, so the fact that passengers now have that option is a big tick. The next pro for me is actually just a short-term one. See, EasyJet move out of Terminal 1 on the 18th of November, which means the food court area in Terminal 1 is also closing at that point. Now, I'm not too clear on when the whole Terminal 1 area will shut, whether it's when EasyJet move or whether there's some other airlines left. I think Emirates might still be around. But what it does mean is, up until that point, you could use the food court, which if you're a priority pass holder, gives you some £18 credits to spend in one of the restaurants upstairs and Starbucks. But obviously this is only a temporary pro that will disappear once those places shut down and once the shops that are in Terminal 1 shut down as well. Another part of my day at the airport before I jumped on my flight was to just film what is Terminal 1. What does it look like now before it does get bulldozed down? Now, we don't know if that's going to happen yet. We don't really know what the airport plan to do with it. I don't think we're going to find that out until maybe later next year. But I have put some unlisted videos into the description, which will take you around the Terminal 1 piers, the terminal itself, and any more information you should want should be in there as well, I think. Back to regular viewing next week, we'll have British Airways in business class from Heathrow to Manchester. That's BA's shortest bookable flight. Let's see what all that's about. And there's more videos coming as well, so don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.